They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without this. Please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. It's me again. I was got a shower. Couldn't do that with me bad head. But anyway, it should be good tonight because not that I've got Anthony on, because he's good, isn't he? He's good and knows loads about. It's great the way literature combines to today. Honestly, it really is. It really is how it combines to today and what's happening today. And basically, I'm going to, well, we'll be talking about a couple of things that relates to today. You know, so, and both true stories, actually. I'll surprise you. I really will, well, both of us will. But I just want to thank Gap Painting Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. Really, I'm awfully sorry I haven't got the thing up. Oh, there it is. See, Jason's there. And these people are fantastic, really are, you know. They sponsor the show. You know, it helps us along, it really does, because I don't ask money off anybody, you know, these super chats or anything. And a little bit of sponsor, because it does cost, you know, it really does. It's not like everything is for free. We just going on here and bringing Anthony in and we're talking about different things. Anyway, they sponsor the show. Please don't struggle trying to decorate. Please don't do it. Get these lads in, fully time served, fully insured. They do a superb job. They really do. They do a superb job. And they're in and out. And they leave you sparkling, honest to God. They leave you whatever way you want it, decorating, it's theirs. It's theirs. It really is. Anyway, so get them in. If you're an NHS worker, great discount. Honestly, it is. And if you're an elderly person, another great discount. Just get them in. Don't struggle. Even if you don't fit into the categories, as I keep saying, that's reasonable. Don't be struggling. Okay? And that's the wonderful Gap Painting Services. I'll just go over to see who's with us tonight. And the old mate, Christopher. Christopher, I've got this bloody book for you. Haven't I? Somewhere here. You want to see the state of it? Our Francine was down today. She went, "What's that, Dad? What's that?" I said, because when people put things away, you know, I can't find them. Like I've got batteries. You know, like you get out of it. I always get batteries for me, you know, me, these bloody things, you know. And Francine said, have you got, where's your battery? Can't find it. And I always buy a big box of them, you know, packet of them. Can't find it. I'm useless. But anyway, you know, that's that. That's all sorted for tonight. So that's all me moaning going away. I got myself a new camera. I just hope that it's okay. You know what I mean? This is a brand new camera. Well, bought like Francine brought it down, put it in. She said, all right, Dad, you're away now. And Jason just got right onto it, set everything up. Set everything up. And people keep messaging me, don't they, when I'm on air live. So anyway, as Christopher say, hi Frank and everyone, like and subscribe, says the wonderful Christopher. Oh, Mia. Frank, hello, Mia. Hi, Mia. Hi, Christopher. I love that. You know, honestly, it's Lee. Thanks for all. Lee, honestly, do you know when I answered you? There's a thing that keeps all the time. I've been meaning to ask you on loads of messages before, but a little microphone keeps coming up and I can't get to write. So I don't bother. And then it never came up when I answered you. But I was going to answer your last message. But I couldn't because of the stupid microphone thing that pops. I haven't a clue. Can't get rid of it to, you know, like, write back. Rather do the writing than anything else. And Lee says, love that intro video, Frank. Who made that for you? Jason. Jason did. Oh no, it's Frank Halloween, cheeky thing. Let's see, like, new camera, Frank. Yeah, I'm made up with it. I think. You'll see Anthony for what he really is. Honest. You know, like when he appears, you'll think that, you know, he's the image of Clark Gable. You remember the old actor? Spitting image of Clark Gable. So if you don't know who Clark Gable is, just Google him and you'll go, oh, it's Anthony. Especially with my new camera. Oh, P. Oh, Will. How are you, mate? I haven't seen you for yonks. I hardly get on to Nuke anymore. It's changed, hasn't it? Oh, great to see you though, Will. Honestly, it really is great to see you, my friend. And yeah, I'll be talking about that on Friday. I want to find the ins and outs. It's just like when the collegiate went on fire. You know what I mean? The collegiate. It's shocking what happened to the collegiate. And also Kingwell Hall. I remember talking to Ken Dodd. Now he was going to open up. He was buying it. And he was going to open up a comedy thing. You know, like a museum sort of thing, but of performances on. And then all of a sudden it went on fire. It went on fire. Twice. I said to Ken, that was deliberate, that Ken. And he just went. So, Any more paranormal shows, book, Frank? Loved your story. I think when you was in the middle of France, yeah. And do you know what? I never ever mentioned that, to anybody. And the only time I mentioned it was on one of my shows. I'll get, I promise you this, Lee, I'll promise you this. I'll get Jamie on. Jamie's brilliant. Good friend of mine. Paranormal fella. Frightens the hell out of me. When he brought me down to this bloody building, I had to walk out. I said, I'm sorry to swear. I said, I'm not staying here. Honestly. Not staying here, I'm off. 3 o'clock in the morning, the people were there. Even our Francine was there. Yes, so down the road round and you spoke to someone, some man, who had already passed away, 10 years. 10 years now. As I said before, Lee, I've had 2 experiences in France. Not at the same time, different times. Frightening. And both of them frightening, by the way. Mia. Hope you're doing good, Frank. Thank you, Mia, sweetheart. Yes, but our engagement's off because you told me last night. So I'm rather disappointed. I couldn't get any sleep. Couldn't sleep. I'm just going to let me, I'm going to go back to being normal because it was on cloud 9, as you know. With you, Mia. And George said, good evening, Frank, and a preemptive good evening to you, Anthony. Also, just before Anthony comes on. Where's ambidextrous? Oh, there she is. Ambidextrous. I'm here. I didn't see you there. Lee Brady. That's okay, Frank. I did get your last message, though, after I sent them photo. What do you make of that token I found? Brilliant. Eastern Exhibition, Liverpool, 1886. Very interesting. Yes. Yes. Now, the Eastern, I could talk about that on the history show. I really will. But what we've lost. I see something today which it's rather frightening actually what's happening in this country. But that's for Friday. Bella. Well, I say, Franco and everyone, hope you're well. Thank you, Bella, and you too. I hope you're well. Fa bene, grazie. I should have said to you. Well, Edward, the microphone sounds louder. It's because of today. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad of that. And Leah says, I remember when I was younger, I went to a church, and when I was a little kid, I didn't know the paranormal stuff, and I started talking to someone. I'll get Jamie on. I'll get Jamie on. I'll get Jason to get him on. You'll enjoy Jamie. Because he's, I don't like saying this, but, I call them ghost hunters. But he frightened me that time. I'll tell you all about it when I'm with Jamie. I'll try and get him on this week. I'll try and get him on this week. Oh, Alicia, I remember that one, Frank. I mentioned and the Wallens. Oh, St George's Hall. Me and Jake Abraham, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. Camera is better, Edward, says Edward. Thank you. And Eric Scarhill. Good evening, Frank and the chat. And Jason, I'll get on to Jamie, mate. See, Jason's the producer, so he has to go out and get them. I can't. Jamie Williams. You like Jamie if you haven't seen him before. And Jason was with us that night. We went to the he stayed. He stayed. I said, I'm going. Why? I said, I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh. Callum says, Mia, I recommend the Ouija boards. Don't recommend any Ouija boards, Callum, or I'll turn you into an Arsenal fan. You wouldn't like that, would you? Do you believe in ghosts, Frank? I kind of do, as there are certain things that get spooky. Well, what Lee said before, and what he's heard me say before, I'll tell you what I'll do here. If you tune in on Friday, I'll let you know what happened to me in France. Okay? But you've got to tune in on Friday. And I'll give you my 2 experiences. And I'll even show pictures of one of them. I'll show you my experiences. And it made me think again about life. Really. About life. Ambidextrous, that would be good, Frank. I have questions for Jay. Oh, yeah, you'll be able to. I'll be able to, well, yeah, he just answered them. And Jason said, I passed over the night, mate. I'm haunting you. He did. He went, I'm sorry about this. We're going on about you. Jamie would be made up who was listening then. I'm sure I seen one when I was younger, says Eric Scarter. But seeing that he's all interested, and I can't do it now, obviously, because this program is geared up to do something else. And on Friday, promise you. But I'll be doing the ordinary show as well Friday. Because we're on a seesaw thing at the moment, the world, and people don't realise it. So I'll have him on. He's already been contacted by Jason, so you'll be seeing him on Friday. And Mia said, that's it, I'm booking Friday off work. Oh, Mia. Yeah, fucking Friday off work. Look, I've got to bring this wonderful man of mine in. And Callum. Ouija board, you just talk to the dead. Stop it now. I think you want to get me Friday. I go to bed and there's like little mad noises lying there like that. The little mad noises coming through. Footy on Monday, mate. Let me know when you want them. Friday, can you get them for this Friday? Please, Jay. It's a dead good subject. Carl, if I ever see you, mate, nothing's down for you. I think I'll get the Ouija out for tonight for you. There's my lovely Toscana. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all well. Ciao, Franco. Ciao, Franco. Ciao. Ciao, Toscana. I'm going to bring my wonderful friend on. And I just hope he hasn't got. I don't want to talk about, mind you, I'm going to bring him in. This fella looked after me on Saturday. Really did. Him and lovely Lainey. Well, me and our Francine. Anthony.
Good evening, Sir Francis.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you've not got United yet, I'm sure it's in the can.
Oh, well, I remember when I refused the gong, didn't I? I don't know whether it was a OBE, MBE, or whatever it was. So I don't, because of simply because of Hillsborough and the establishment.
To do one. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with a GCE. That'll do for me. But listening to chatters tonight, that's lovely. I am a great believer, as you know, in there's more we don't know than we do.
No.
Yes.
No.
Ghosts and ghoulies and yeah.
I will appreciate it. Hi, Anthony Brown.
I will. Hope you're good, mate.
You ever seen her for yonks?
Yeah.
Do you know what Will does? Do you know what Will does? Will's a plane spotter, but a certain plane spotter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He goes to the likes of Nuuk Airport, which is the capital of Greenland, and he's there, And it was brilliant the way they were building it up. It was fantastic, what they done. But they stopped the chat for some reason. They stopped the chat and we got to know people, But anyway, great.
Fantastic.
And as he says, I'm okay, Anthony. Hope you're all well too. Not lovely.
I am well, thank you very much. I am. Yeah. In brilliant company again. So Frank will always look after me.
And Lainey will look after the both of us.
Well, someone's got to, haven't they?
Yes. Yes. And Mia says, I agree, Anthony. There's so much on Earth that's unexplored and unexplained. However, hope Anthony is well.
Thank you, Mia. I am well, and I'm really enjoying the dialogue, conversation going on. Yeah.
And ambidextrous. Hi, Anthony.
Good evening, ambidextrous.
Well, appreciate it. I'm hoping to go on to. Oh, go away. That'll be fantastic. That will be fantastic. But my advice for you is go in the summer. There's no way I'd go there in the winter. I'd just freeze. I'd be like one of those. I'd be like when they found Captain Scott. So when they actually searched and they found him up in the North Pole, they were well preserved. But, when they died, they didn't deteriorate simply because of the cold. Look at that. Look. Say, he's swearing already. You can hear them crying on the Tyne, Alex. Isak once, Merseyside. One chat. with with Iron Slot, and he says, "Wow, F off magpies. I'm a Scouser now." Hey, Andy says, Toscana, hope all is well with you.
Hiya, Toscana. Thank you. Yeah, all is good with me, and hope it is the same with you and yours.
And Mia say, I remember watching a documentary. I forgot the name of it, but it was based in America, I think. And there's so much woods and forest where people go missing. Is there a creature? Who knows? Well, the thing is, you've got Bigfoot, haven't you? You've got Bigfoot, which is supposedly there being filmed and whatever. It's like the Loch Ness Monster, to be honest, so there's all lots of myths around different countries, by the way. I'll have to use my glasses, my reading glasses.
Yeah. It's a strange subject, but I remember reading about the old occultist Aleister Crowley, who bought a cottage on, I don't think it was Loch Ness, but on one of the lochs, because supposedly the remoteness and the lochs attract certain things, and that appealed to him. And years later, Jimmy Page, the musician, he bought that house. I love that mythology, though, and that we've got it here in Scotland, and we've got it in Ireland, and
Well, you had the creature of the moors here, the big black creature. But they were saying that it was a sort of big black cat that was terrorising the moors.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he wrote it, didn't he? The Hounds of the Baskervilles.
He did.
And that was loosely based on that, believe it or not. It was loosely based. And that's where your literature comes into it. That's where your literature comes into it.
Yeah, it does. And again, the as you and we have talked about so often, is the inspiration and the things that can spark something. A headline in a paper doesn't have to be much, but you read that and then your imagination fills in the gaps, and so it comes out in a story or a poem. Charge of the Light Brigade with Tennyson, and he read a couple of lines in a newspaper. That wasn't. They were playing it down, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, because it was a terrible mistake. There's been lots throughout history that have been, just brushed under the carpet. Don't mention this, don't mention that, and there's been lots of mistakes throughout history.
Yeah.
So you don't get to know about them. And you're quite right about Lord Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson, because he only read a little colour. It was like that, about that church.
Yeah.
Like that it was. In the Thunder, which is now the Times today.
Yeah. He read that, and then it was buried just like now. If something comes up that we really maybe should read, they get that out, forget, put an advert on, put whatever on, but don't show that again. And it's interesting, or is it frightening, that it's always been there?
Yes.
Always try to cover things up.
Of course.
And it's wonderful.
Go on.
Sorry, Frank. It's wonderful that there's poets and writers who think, hang about, I'll explore that and put it out. I mean, obviously in our lifetime, it's been more musicians and writers who would do something and bounce it back. Well, yeah.
Well, it's like Thomas Hardy,
Yeah.
when he stopped writing prose because he fell in love with a main character called Tess, Tess of the D'Urbervilles. And he had to kill it off, and he said, "That's it, I'm not writing any more prose again." So we went to poetry, and he wrote a poem called The Drummer Boy. And it was only relating to what the army were doing, right up. And this coincides, actually. Let me explain. He wrote about the drummer boy. And this drummer boy was killed in the Boer War, South Africa.
Yeah.
So he wrote about it. But the main thing about the drummer boy was his age. And his age was 14.
Yeah.
So he's saying, look, there's children going in, they're being brought into the army here and going to wars.
Yeah.
When you think about it, in the First World War, if any question why we died, tell them because our fathers lied. Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
Because he signed a thing. And Jason's, I did a document, sorry, I just did a thing where I went over with my students and whatever. I filmed it. And the girl who was filming it, the ex-partner, she couldn't do the video properly. She kept holding the red button, to start it. She kept holding it and kept cutting out. And it wasn't until I said, you've done it all wrong. You should just press it and just leave it. She said, well, you never told me. So, okay, then. You can't argue. But he said he's cleaning it up. He's going to clean it up, and I'll show you. It's good film. Because what I found were graves of 14 and 15-year-olds. And it just proves what Hardy was saying. That's all. What Hardy was saying. And what, I found. And what Rudyard Kipling said, simply because fathers were actually signing papers, because that's where it became paramount for young kids, because they found out about, kids going to war, the Boer War, and every other bloody war, to be honest, before that. And he said, we'll have to get permission off the family, especially the father. And that's why he said, if any question why we died, because he's talking to soldier now. If any question why we died, tell them because our fathers lied. Signing that piece of paper for them to know.
Yeah. That is one of the most powerful short poems I'd ever heard. And I'd heard it when you brought it up one night when we were on. Yeah, still is now.
It is. It's very. Hey, up Frank Anthony and Chatters says the freedom of Jamie.
Hey, up freedom.
And as May says, which is a good point actually. None of us here are silly. There is so much stuff they hide from us, and it's all for a reason. Mia, believe me, I do a lot on misinformation, for example, propaganda, everything I do. And I try to break down the barriers of propaganda. And then once you break them down, you come to the wall, which you can't go any further because that's all been broken down. And at that wall is written the truth. Sorry to use an analogy like that.
But that's the greatness of literature, isn't it? Because they cut that block, and they write freely. Some of them so poetically and so wonderfully that you have to read and reread and reread and then say, that's what he's meaning.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Do you know what? Strangely enough, do you know, have you ever read, I think it's brilliant actually, but have you ever read the Mary Castor Bridge?
No.
No. The Mary Castor Bridge, Anthony, is Thomas Hardy, strangely enough. And, we just went into Thomas Hardy there, didn't we, at the Drummer Boy. But he wrote the Mary Castor Bridge, and I'm sure somebody on here has read it, has read the Mary Castor Bridge. Anyway, it was based on a story. It was, like Oliver Twist. The birth of Oliver Twist was based on the birth there of a baby. The mother died, and they didn't know the girl, so they just didn't know the girl, so they named the child. So they gave them the child's name, the church, the chapel inside the workhouse grounds, because they thought the child would die as well. Because the girl was absolutely feverish, she couldn't speak. As soon as that baby was born, she died. So they didn't know her name. And what you've got is a long story of that particular person. And it goes back to Thomas Hardy, believe it or not, from Dickens, what he wrote about Oliver Twist, with the birth of the fella in Liverpool, who I know, and I've written a play about it. And when you look at it, basically, Thomas Hardy, he read something just like Alfred Lord Tennyson and the Thunder and the Charge of the Light Brigade, because no one would have knew about that. But he read about this fella. And he has a wife and child. And he was a bit of a drunkard, and he was playing cards. He was gambling. He was a bit of a gambler. And he lost. And he couldn't pay the debt. So do you know what he did? Sold his wife to the winner and child. So he went, wow. But it was only like a little scribbly thing that he had read. Wow. Mary Castor Bridge. Fantastic.
You know what?
You see what I mean about... This is why we try to put over to our lovely chatters here.
Yeah.
Literature has so much to offer. You can pick up a book anywhere, anytime, just start reading it. And I love autobiographies.
Yeah, me too.
Right, so we read an autobiography because I don't mean biography, I mean autobiography, because autobiography is from the mouth of the author.
By the person, yeah.
Exactly. Now, a biography, say someone was going to write about me, if you know what I mean. when I'm gone.
I'm working on
writing. So they could, I'm not saying making up things, please, I'm not saying that. But they haven't got to the truth, really.
No.
They haven't got to the truth.
No.
And I could say something, and I was talking to you about this when we were over there having that wonderful afternoon together. And it was about a certain little place in Liverpool. And it was named, I'm not going to name it, but it was named after the Italian community, right? Now, I told you something, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it on here. But it's things like that that people don't really get the full story.
No, you don't. And it's a strange thing. And you mentioned before about selling the rights or the copyrights to work. And sometimes we don't realize how important your scribbles or my scribbles or whatever could be. Someone else immediately sees it not as a label of love, but I can make a few bob on this. And it's happened throughout history forever. And the greatest piece of advice I was given was when I was just about to sign a piece of paper to work with a gallery. Someone said, do not sell your soul away. Because what you don't see on a piece of paper, because it's not there, is that we will forever make money on your work, even though you won't. So
absolutely,
it's like if I know I've got a short space of time, I'll be out in the back garden with a burner setting fire to everything that the kids don't want because of that reason.
Now, as he says there, as Jason says, Jamie is away, but I booked him for the 5th of September, Mia.
Wow.
So he'll be coming on the 5th. He has a book out too. I want you to come on that show as well, Anthony, if you don't mind, because it'll be a Friday though.
I would love to see Jamie again. Speak to Jamie again. I really enjoyed those nights that I had with you.
So, as he says, Jason, he has a book out too. See and pictures. So there's pictures in it for anyone who's interested in the paranormal. And it's about this place here, Mill Street Barracks. Because when he brought us down to a building, it was in the city centre, Liverpool city centre. So, I went down. Our Francine said to me, can I bring me mate? Can I come and bring me mate? I says, yeah, of course you can bring your mate. And there was quite a number of people there. Because I mentioned it, you see, so they were all there, they were all inside the thing. And he said, what I want to do, he said, I just want to bring you up, Frank, and Jason, because he was the producer. And I said, well, can you bring him up? And he was a photographer, Paul Frost. And he went, yeah, sure. So we went up these stairs, and I had to say, he said, you'll have to tell them to stay. So I said, okay. I said, you'll have to stay here. I'm sorry, is that okay? But we'll come back down for you. And he told me things that would happen when the people came up, and we went into this room, and the way you could feel a vibe. I don't know what it was, but you could feel something. And I went, oh, fuck this. You know, then we came out of there, but he said something will happen in here. Then we went into the, you know, this main thing. Honest to God. He said, someone will be standing over there. And he said, you see that chair over there? He said, someone will say, I feel sick. I feel sick. And someone will bring her over to the chair and sit her down. That happened. And the person who felt sick was our Francine's mate. She said, I just feel awful sick. And she was brought over to the chair to sit down, because that's what he said, someone will stand there and feel sick. He said, and over there, he said, someone will go, if he's standing on his own, or he or she standing on their own, they'll go and look around. And look around. But no one will be there. And he'll go back into the crowd. He won't want to be on his own, just standing there.
Yeah.
It happened like that.
Yeah.
Well, there was a terrible bang, you know, and I mean a bang in there. And I jumped. We all jumped, you know what I mean? Now, I know he said this. He said, oh, don't worry, he says, that was a letterbox, that was wind. Because he's seen us all frightened. So he made that thing up. You know, don't worry, it was only a letterbox, the wind coming through, and it banged the door. But we were too far away from a bloody letterbox, and it wouldn't make such a sound as a bang. And that's when I turned around to Jason. He said, yes, I'm going home. Said to Frances, she said, no, lovely. I said, okay, you stay there. You stay here with, you know, a mate Carol. I said, you stay with me. I said, I'm getting off. I don't want to do this. And it says it frightened me, honestly.
Yeah. So,
you know, they're the type of things. It's happened to me in St. George's Hall.
Yeah. Remember you saying?
I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
When I was giving a series of lectures. I was in the courtroom, the main courtroom. And I said, and here stood, you know, some fella. I said, and he was found guilty of murder. And he was pleading his innocence. So anyway, I went down to the cells, you know, because I had to go down to make sure safety. And I couldn't open this very flimsy door. I just couldn't open it. And it frightened me. Because I know someone was pulling on the other side. I know that. And I just went shot back up. And even one of the people said, you know, it was shocking where it was, you know, they were all sitting down. And they said, yeah, looks like you just seen a ghost, Frank. And I just went, yeah. But this young fella, and he was only a young lad, about 20. And I was made up that at least someone young was in there, because I get mostly older people, you know, who follows history and things.
Yeah.
And he was like Jack the Lad. He said, oh, I'll go down. I said, no, don't go down. No, you know. And anyway, you know what young people are like. And he shut down. Less than 10 seconds, he shot back up, right past me and out. done. And I was shouting, just got off. And someone says in the audience, was that put up? Was that put on, Frank? That was brilliant. I said, no, I didn't even know the kid. I said, no. So you see the way it is.
I do. And I also see that it's always been there. And you look back through literature and through years, right back to Shakespeare and everyone, they wrote about it. In Victorian times, it was kind of cool to acknowledge the dear departed, and seances and things like that kicked off. And our other, one of our favourite authors, Arthur Conan Doyle, was a fierce believer in the afterlife.
Oh,
but before that, writers and poets were writing about it, and under the I love some of Tennyson's work, and ironic that regarded as his greatest poems was about death and the loss of someone, and that emotion, I think, carries through all of us, mere mortals. And it, as you just said then, the stories you told us about your experiences, wow, that will hit through to people. And it's almost like it is there. It is something to acknowledge,
It is, because when you see, I always kept things back like that. Always, because I was working at the time, teaching, lecturing, whatever you want to call it, and doing certain things, and I've never ever mentioned, especially those two experiences I had in France, because I thought once someone, if I would have said one of the certain, well, either of them, they go, oh, he's a crank. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Because people are like that, so he's a crank.
Yeah. Well, we had that interesting conversation a while ago with your friend that came on, the ex-policeman.
Yes.
About UFOs.
Yes.
And his problem was, if I remember, one of the problems is, as we're talking now, if there's anything that publishers may feel is going to be of discomfort to readers, don't put it out. Don't publish it. Don't publish that. You can publish that one. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because he had trouble trying to get his books published. And as we know, literature across the years is the same. And I take my hat off, if he had one on, to the people that took a chance, on writers.
Publish them, yeah. Well, it's like anything else, though, because I remember someone asked me if I knew Tom Slim, and I said, no, Tom. And he came up to me because I did a certain lecture on a certain topic. And he said, Frank, and I said, no. I said, you write books about these things. And you also write for the Echo every weekend at the time. I said, you put that in. And that's the end of my lecture about this particular topic.
Right.
He stuck to his words, He stuck to his words. He wouldn't say anything, publish or anything about my experience. One of my experiences and whatever. You know what I mean? So that was it. The lovely Karen Karayaku, my good friend Karen. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and everyone. loving the talk and info tonight. She's got a little gif. What did he call it? Emoji of Casper. Yes, so Jamie, when he'll come along, he'll be talking all about it. And as Jason says, available on Amazon, 10 quid, paperback, right, and £15 hardback. And there's pictures in it.
Lovely. We'll fly the flag for our
Yeah. He's a good lad, isn't he?
Yes.
I'll have to go through what these people have been saying. They've been calling us for everything, I suppose. Oh, Snapey. Hiya, Snapey. The history of literature. So that's the nostalgic brief for this evening. Oh, how one could pontificate over such a fascinating topic. Sadly, I lack the necessary vocabulary to elaborate. It's great. At least he's out of hospital now. And he's up in his loft using the next door's Wi-Fi. And Mia says, Steve, I don't specialise in this subject either, but I'm here to listen. I know that Snapey loves I know that Snapey loves literature. They all do. And Bella says, Franco, a few of my friends came over from Italy a couple of times. Why didn't you let me know? And we went uptown to see some of the historical buildings they look. Why didn't you let me know? I'm not talking to you anymore, Bella. Not talking to you anymore. I've got two coming to me tomorrow. I got one of our Italian, that we grew up with communities. One of their families, the Muscatelli. And he went over to Sicilia, and he sent me photos of where his great-great-grandfather was brought up, where he lived and brought up. And I said, nothing's changed, has it? She said, no. It's just the same, there's not, but beautiful. But beautiful. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
What's it that? Not telling me. Bella. Hi, Frank says ambidextrous. Are you ambidextrous? I said that's who everyone we'd have no one. But anyway, when we talk about literature, and as I said about the Mary Castor Bridge, and the Mary Castor Bridge, see, knowing what he read, obviously, he's gone and got sources, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's gone and got sources about this particular person. Because that particular person, in that town, small town, he just left. He just went. And no one's seen him again. So he made a life somewhere else. And have a guess who showed up one day? His wife. His wife. I think it was after 18 years or something mad like that. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was less than that. About 15 years or something like that. With the child he abandoned and the wife. And then he was actually the mayor. He went to a place. Obviously, the town was fictionalized. Casterbridge. And he went and he became affluent. And he became the mayor. But you always have a dark secret, don't you?
Yeah.
It's a if anyone's going on the holidays, it's well worth a read, because everybody reads when they go away. So it's well worth a read. Or even if you read overnight, I know lots of people who go to bed and do a half an hour's reading.
Yeah.
And knocks them asleep.
It is. It is. And it's strange really the way things stay in your head.
Yeah.
And certainly that time of night, because you kind of sowing seeds, and then through your night, your subconscious kicks in, and
Do you know what you just said there? When you think, I've known this for years because I got told of the old professor. I said, you know what, Prof? I said, I was thinking of something, and this is where I was a student. I said, I can't think for the life of me what I was thinking of when I was. He said, listen to me. He said, when you're in bed and your head's empty and of everything that day, your head is empty, and then your head's clear, your brain is clear. So you do start thinking about certain things that you want to talk about or write about, but you forget.
Yeah.
Even a quote, he said, you forget the next day because as soon as you wake up and then everything's coming back to you, but you forget what you've said. That's why you forget dreams.
Yeah.
That's why you forget dreams, he said. So, and I went, oh, okay then. I said, well, what can you do if you're thinking of these wonderful things and you can't remember? He said, bring a pencil and a notepad to bed and write them down. Then go to sleep. How about that, Anthony?
Do it all the time, but done it for years.
Yeah, they are. See, so I do myself, honestly.
Sometimes you look at it and you think, what does that mean? Because you're writing a sentence or whatever that makes perfect sense when you're half asleep. It's like the meaning of the cosmos. That's it. It comes. There you go. You wake up in the morning, you read it, and it says, "Catch the number 72 bus. Get off at the butcher's." You think, what's that about? No, but some of the greatest things in literature start out as dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, musically, the one that comes straight to mind, and there's been many of them, is that, composer like Beethoven and Mozart got streams of music in their head, would wake up and play it and write it. And years later, Carnival Sphere, Paul McCartney wrote up with the words of Yesterday. And he didn't know if it was someone else's. So they would go to parties and he'd say, have you ever heard this? And he would recite the words and people would go, no, never heard that. So after about 6 months, he thought, must be mine.
Do you know that shows you how honest he is? He's an honest person because he asked.
Yeah. He didn't in case someone said, "That's my song," you know, they're my words, my lyrics.
I'm
But
made up about what you said there.
it's just strange, you know. That's
Yeah.
the power of words, I think, as well. We all hear like catchphrases. We all hear a snippet and then go with that. It comes from somewhere and someone, and most of it from William on your shoulder there. You know, heart on the sleeve. All of that stuff is William Shakespeare.
He wrote, you know, people don't realise that the likes of Hamlet is a ghost story.
Yeah.
It's a ghost story. When he appears, you know, his dad, Hamlet.
Yeah.
Appears to his son.
Yeah.
Love it. You see, you know, and this is how, I don't know how we got into this, like, but I think it was Mia's fault or someone's fault. Anyway, no, it was your fault because you mentioned Charge of the Light Brigade. Then it just goes off, doesn't it, on a tangent. Then it says about Thomas Hardy and the wars and whatever, and children fighting in the wars. And there you've got, I'm not going to like go on about this. I'll just say this very, very briefly, because there's you've got Zelensky of Ukraine recruiting 14-year-old boys to train. You see what I mean? And that's wrong. Not only that, but you know, you might think, oh well, you know, see, get into here and whatever. No. And you've got the likes of 60-odd-year-old men being recruited, and they say, well, it's not combatant. Of course it's combatant. Of course it's combatant. You can't kid the kidders, fella.
Someone puts a target on you, someone else is going to shoot at you.
Exactly. Pathetic. They're pathetic. But that's for Friday, by the way. Do you know, again, going back to the young kids, Baden-Powell.
Okay.
Baden-Powell, you know, and the dib, right, fella. Yeah. Think about it. He had these kids as runners, sending messages during the Boer War. And then they were known as scouts. He had scouts, but the smaller kids was known as cubs. The cub of the wolf. Or the fox, is it? I'm not quite too sure now. But anyway, you know, again, children. Children. He wrote about children the best. And it was none other than William Blake.
Yes.
And this is what I mean about.
It was powerful.
But yeah, for the child, go on.
No, I'm just agreeing that is the most powerful way. We miss it. We in this generation miss it, and in his generation they missed it. That's how he got away with getting it out. But when you read and you think, wow, that's powerful.
Well, yeah, because he said, didn't he, a little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep in notes of woe. Where are your mother and father say? They have gone up to the church to pray. Now, think about that. A little black thing among the snow. This is a child, a chimney sweeper, covered in soot. And that's why he said a little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep. Again, you know, the child's crying with the cold. That's why he says, crying, weep, weep. because he can't sound the S's. You think of a child, can't sound the S's. He can't sound weep, weep in notes of woe.
Yeah.
Where are your father? Someone's asked, where are your father and mother? Say, they have gone up to the church to pray. Thing is, while they're in the warmth and whatever, in church, that little kid is doing the most dangerous job, because kids used to get stuck up chimneys.
Yeah.
And they used to have to yank them down. And if they came down, sometimes they were killed, and sometimes they were infirmed with broken legs.
Yeah.
They all didn't land safely so that they could go on. And this is what it's all about. This is what Blake was talking about. And child labour.
Yeah.
And it goes on today, child labour, child trafficking.
Yeah.
No one's saying anything. They've all gone quiet. Maybe they're not playing with us. I'll build a clopper. Build a clopper statue. Hey, how's it going? I appreciate you gents being so consistent and being here with us as part of this amazing community. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, cheers.
He carries on by saying, I can't often be here because I'm working a lot right now at a hotel to help to pay the bills. But whenever I can, tune in. I do. You never walk alone. Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just lovely people, aren't they? Oh, there's Yabby. I'm sorry I missed all these out because it goes down, you see. Hey, Frank, how's it going? I know this isn't for footy talk, but I just wanted to check in to see if you were both doing okay. Sending my best to you. Now, come on. How about that?
Brilliant. Wonderful. And it is a family.
That's what you call. Well, you know what I say about these, don't you? Privately. Yeah. These wonderful people. Honestly. Oh. Toscana. Fascinating chat from Frank Owen. Not lovely.
Thank you, Toscana.
Listening though, Frank. Yeah, that's when I said no one's said anything. It's just we're only listening. You see, look, where the truth is hidden and then it's brought out, you've only got to look at this. The crucible.
Yeah. Awesome.
Now, the crucible was actually based on a true story. A true story. I've been to see this. I had to go, when I was doing literature. I've seen it about 4 or 5 times over the years. It's always the same. It's very intriguing, no matter if you've seen it before and you know the outcome. It's like any Shakespeare play. You go and see that. Macbeth is the greatest thing ever written, by the way. And you know what happens. And can I go? I mentioned Shakespeare and Macbeth. there's one thing in, you know, Macbeth, right?
Yeah.
We all feel sorry for him, don't we? Albeit he killed his cousin, because they don't realise that Duncan was Macbeth's cousin. They don't realise that, you know. Oh, worthy cousin, you know, after someone comes and says, Macbeth said to him, well down there, he's killing all them Norwegians, you know, the Norwegians. Anyway, he said, oh, that's great. Oh, worthy cousin, he says. And he ends up killing his cousin, regicide. It's the most, how can I say, you can't kill anyone more higher than a king. That's what it's all about, regicide.
Yeah. And
he's just committed regicide by killing a good king. And yet, you know, through, and he also, Banquo was a mate. But as the play, this is the genius of Shakespeare. You start to feel sorry for Macbeth. Even though you know the evil deeds. But, you know, and getting back again, when you feel sorry for these, and then you leap forward, you know, the likes of Macbeth, and then you leap forward to Thomas Hardy and the Mayor of Casterbridge. There's a fella he was a drunkard and sold his wife and child to pay off a drunken debt and gamble. See what I mean?
Yeah.
But you start to feel sorry for him. That's how good it is, you see. You start to, as you're reading it, you feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
And that's like Macbeth, you see.
Yeah. You live in their situation, their circumstances, and you sense the remorse or half remorse that might be there. It's a human trait. And, and in the real world, that's how people are manipulated.
Did I tell you this? I got an email. I don't know whether I told you that. And it's this, I don't know, you know, you get all these like letter things, you know, and it says we're filming down at the Pierhead, and we'd like you to participate.
You did?
I was going to tell you. And it's going out throughout Europe and throughout China, because I'm sure, you know, they want me to talk about our Chinese brothers and sisters and whatever in Liverpool, but especially during the Second World War.
Yeah. You're going to do it?
I rang them up today, so I'll just send them an email because they're not answering. They must be out, whatever they're doing. So I'll phone them. I'll send them an email. I'll send them an email tonight, actually.
Well, what's lovely about that for me, listening to you the other night when we talked, is that you were invited to it because it's pretty much to Chinese community, Chinese heritage, and the token historian or the solo historian, tokenist, is yourself, because of what you've done and what you do and when we're on, you know.
Yeah. Because I've always said, haven't I, Anthony, that the communities here, look, I gave a talk a few years ago, right here where I'm actually living, because they got the Sacred Heart of Jesus. There was only 5 made. 2 were destroyed in the Second World War. 1 statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is in the Vatican, St. Peter's. The other one is in the Notre Dame. And the final one, these survived these things. These French, they were made in Paris, by the way, in around 17, I think it was 17, was it 1779? 1779, something like that. And these French nuns decided to leave their nunnery and come over to England, but they came to Liverpool and they brought the statue with them. They brought the statue with them. And they asked me to, to give a talk about, because of what I was talking about. Yeah, there it is. Jason, can you get that thing up? What I actually written about it as well. Oh, hang on. There it is. There's the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Jason, is there any way that you can highlight? Because, excuse me, Bella, I will chat in a moment. I will mention you. It's porcelain at the bottom. It's a book, a book sort of. And they asked me to write something. Because who I was talking about was migrants coming into the city.
Yeah.
Especially where I grew up. And I grew up in Little Italy.
Yeah.
Known as Little Italy. Where all the Italians my family came from. Poco Italia. And that's where that's where they were based in a place called Gerrard Street.
Yeah.
Little Italy. And all the communities, and they right next to the Irish community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I wrote something. And I bet you Jason's gone out. Because he would have put, I wonder if he has.
No, he'd be looking for the piece.
He'd be looking for the piece. Yeah. But anyway, I'll just say what Bella says. She says, Franco and Anthony, it's fantastic just listening to you both with my Italian friends with my friends from Italy. They love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. And welcome to your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Italian brothers and sisters. Hey, do you know who I haven't heard from? Hey. Johan. I haven't heard from Johan. Have you? No?
I haven't seen him for a while.
I know, that's what I mean. I could have missed him on here. His name. So anyway, I was talking about the French,
yeah.
The Italians, and the Irish. Because they were in the area, and I was just saying about it. And it was great because, imagine, I'm going to say something there. I know it was controversial at the time. There's our lovely Lynn. Evening, Frank and Anthony. Evening, Lynn.
Evening, Lynn. Hope you're good.
And Toscana says, Bella, I hope your friends are enjoying Liverpool. It's steeped in so much history, says the lovely Bella. Toscana to Bella. And it is.
It is?
It is.
Yeah.
Now, what I hope to do tomorrow is bring down, I've got a couple of people coming to see me tomorrow. One is, he's been on here, he has been commenting, but he's over in Liverpool now, so he'll be mooching around. Stephen, fellow named Stephen, who's French, by the way, but they live in Spain.
That's right, you're saying, yeah.
And Daniela, who's Italian, his wife is Italian.
Yeah.
And they love Liverpool, so they're coming over, or they're over now. And they're coming to see me tomorrow morning, so I hope to bring them down to see where Little Italy was.
Fantastic.
Where Little Italy was.
That's to get someone to take a photograph and then bounce it up via our Jason next time we're on.
Absolutely.
That'd be wonderful, yeah. To hear what they think. I'd be quite emotional, I would imagine, for Daniela, with it being Italian.
Even better than Toscana, they'd be emotional as well, because, look, my grandmother, the outbreak of the Second World War, Italians were rounded up, including my family. And they were incarcerated in the Alamo as aliens. So now my uncle, like my mother's brother, he was the eldest, and he was only 17. Now he had brothers and sisters, including my mother. And the youngest, he was a baby. He was about a year old or something like that. I think less than a year old. And he rounded them up and incarcerated them. But they left the eldest out, my Uncle Frankie. And do you know what they made him do? He was having murder, he was saying. That's my great-grandparents as well, because they were living together. They were all living together, the family. And they were frail, my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents. And anyway, he was going mad, because you know what, Anthony? They forced him into the army. He says, you're going to fight for us. Hated him. He's seeing his grandparents, his parents, siblings, all young, especially the girl, they were all young girls. And the younger brother, who was about 3 or 4, my Uncle Tony. And my other uncle was old. My Uncle Ronnie, he was, he must have been about 1 or 18 months old, being packed up and shipped over to the Alamo as a threat to the country.
Insane. It's just crazy.
Because they had Italian names. And that happened to the Chinese, Do you know that? Do you know during the Korean War? Well, I was going to talk about that. If I do talk about them, But no one knows. No one knows what happened. Honestly, no one knows what we were like. I think we're all lovely, and Bella says to Toscana, they love it in Liverpool. 2 of the girls don't want to go home.
Ah,
Yeah, so wants to go home. Oh. Well, I'm down there tomorrow. I'll be sure, hopefully. Do you know what? I was thinking of a poem, you know, and it's about people don't realise, and it was to his love, right?
yeah,
To his love. So, to his love. Who do you expect it to be? Who's the love? You'd expect it to be his wife or girlfriend or fiance or something, wouldn't you?
yeah. Or his mother.
Or his mother. I'll just read you this. I'm not reading it, I'll just recite it. And it's the very first stanza of this wonderful poem. I love the poems, as you know. He's
Yes.
gone, and all our plans are useless indeed. We'll walk no more on Codswold, where the sheep feed quietly and take no heed. He's gone. Now this is to his love. So it's a fella, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's gay. I should say gay now. He's gay. And in any war, if you were gay, you'd be ridiculed and kicked out. But the opening stanza, or the opening two lines, in my opinion, are the most haunting. He's gone, and all our plans are useless indeed. Now, everybody, it's like I always remember I was 16, 17, and one of our mates, we called him Jock. I don't know why we called him Jock. He wasn't Scottish or anything. We just called him Jock Stanton, Jock. And he had beautiful parents. Such lovely parents. And anyway, he was coming out with us on a Friday night. Now we're young, 17, something, 18. And he was coming out with us. And he just got a job in Lewis's store. That week, he started that week. And he said, I won't be going out, because we called for him. He said, are you going out? We were all dressed up. Friday night. And he said, no, I'm going out with these lads from Lewis's that, they said, come out with us. He said, so I'm going to go out with them, get to know them properly, for work. And we went, oh, come out with us, will you, mates? You'll always see them every day. So he said, oh, I can't, I promised them. The car comes along, pulls up, and this fella gets out and says, are you ready, Terry? He went, yeah, because that was his name. He just called him Joe. So anyway, we said, all right, yeah, see you Sunday, because we always played football on a Sunday. To our Italian friends, Calcio. They know what it means, Calcio. Anyway, he was killed that night. that night. Now, why I'm saying this is as parents. Now, could you imagine? There was only 4 of us, 4 mates, and we were sitting on the couch because, you know, they brought Jock home, and we were sitting on the couch, and his mother, trying to think about his mother, she was a lovely, lovely woman, and she said, "Do you know what, lads? He was so looking forward." He said he was going out that night. He came back in and he said, "I'm sorry I'm not going out with the lads." And he said, "So I'll have to go out with these new lads, you know, just to get used to work." And she said, everything he dreamed of, because when he got this job, he was delighted with it. She said, he fulfilled his dream with this job. He wasn't even in it a week. She said, everything has gone now. All his dreams have gone. And when I first, knew about this particular poem, To His Love, it's always reminded me of Jock.
Yeah.
And what his lovely mother said to us as we were sitting on the couch. Now, some people, that I've got a photographic memory.
Yeah.
Which is fading, by the way. But remember when I said to you, Anthony,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't know most things.
Yeah.
I just wish I didn't know. And they're one of the memories that I try to hide from, because it's a sad memory. But that's me.
But
I have lots of regrets in life, and that particular thing is a memory that, albeit it's there, I'll never forget Jock. I'll never forget his lovely mum. Never. Oh, shit. Oh, every time I think about his mum, she was such a lovely, sweet, lovely human being. And his dad, Mr. Stanton. Really odd, what it is.
I believe that those memories help us in a big way. And there's reasons why you don't forget them, because it's such a powerful, unexpected.
Yes. Well, there's the thing I wrote.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
And it says, because I was asked, he said, will you, give a talk? And I said, yeah, sure. And he said, will you write something for this thing? I said, okay. And I started off with a quote. And it's one of my favourite quotes. And it's this. Man is born free, however, he is everywhere in chains, by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And that's one of the greatest quotes ever written. Ever written. Simply because we're all in chains. We can't break away. Now, you know me on my Friday nights and what I talk about.
Yeah.
And who rules the world and whatever. And I wrote, the influx of migrants. Now, the influx of migrants was into the city. And as I said, I was just talking about the Italians, the Irish, and the French, believe it or not. But anyway, that's who I was talking about because they were in the area at the time. And I said, the influx of migrants into the city of Liverpool has been ongoing for centuries, with a mixture of different cultures and ethnicity. Migrants who fled their countries of origin, whether through forced exile, expulsion, beliefs, hunger, and wars. Liverpool has welcomed each migrant with open arms, inviting them to share a quality of life and to live under one roof in peace and harmony. Migrants brought with them their music, cuisine, a variety of colour. But one of the most important things that they brought, and I can only say it's from the Irish and the Italians, and that's the warmth and generosity. Because in Italy, they used to help, well, this is my grandmother telling me, they used to help each other out because they came from the poor south.
Yeah.
Rather than the industrial north.
Yeah.
And that's why when Il Duce, Mussolini, when he became the main man, he said, the industrial north will pay for everything. What the south give you, because, everything went up to the north, all the veg, everything. But they were full of doubts and everything in southern Italy. But people used to help each other. They used to help each other. The same thing happened in Ireland when the English took over the country. They were being starved, but they helped each other. I can go on about it, to be honest. I could go on about it. But I'll leave on a little lighter note about the Italians. A cousin of ours went over to New York because half of my family, like my mother's family, shall I say, or my grandmother's family, half of their family, the Valantes, they set sail to, because they get to Liverpool to get to America. And there was 6-month waiting list. So half of them went over. And they said, we'll see you in 6 months. Okay. And they never ever got there because they got jobs. And they were working. They said, it's okay here, So they never went. So anyway, fast forward years ago, and, just a few years ago to us, cousin of ours went over. And 2 lads met him, visiting our relatives. He gets to Kennedy Airport, they pick him up, and they say, come on, we go to Little Italy. Oh, yeah, okay. So anyway, they went into Little Italy. People were made up to say, oh, Liverpool, the Beatles and whatever. And he said, listen, we see you tonight, coming over, or tomorrow, you might be jet lagged, But he said, yeah, sure. So he goes to meet this uncle of ours. And the uncle of ours comes out of his home. And he comes over to Nick. And he goes, hey, Nick, you can imagine in New York, hey, Nick, grabbing hold of him. So he was talking to me, he said, how's it been, has it been good over there? I'm sorry to hear about your father, you know. And he should have come over and seen us. He never ever bothered coming over. And Nick wanted to say, well, why did you go over to see me dad? You know, the rest of the family. So anything, as they were walking indoors, from the English language to Italian. And he said, I couldn't understand them. They was just going like this. And he said, you don't speak the mother language. And brought him outside. You don't speak the mother language? What are they doing over there? What are they doing? And he was disgusted. And he came over to me, you know, when he finished, Nick. And he came to see me and he went, will you learn the Italian? I said, you can't even fucking learn English, never mind Italian. Well, that's a true story, you know, a true story. Brought out. He said, he said, he said they couldn't speak English. They weren't allowed. So I'm sorry, you know, we were going on there. But, you know, again, it's the history of literature. No matter how you look at literature, there's history behind it, which applies to today.
Yeah.
I just read out a quote, didn't I? I read out a quote, and it said, man is born free, however, he is everywhere in chains. And you can go back to the, you know, Shakespeare again, when he said, what an era in which we live in. What a terrible era in which we live in. As idiots govern the blind. And you look at today, what's going on, they're full of idiots.
Yeah.
Full of idiots. Oh. And who's the blind? We're the blind.
Yeah.
And we have to take everything as the truth. Il vero, to our Italian friends. Il vero, the truth. And it's, I don't know. Someone asked me, there was a message I got, and he said, hey Frank, that horse, you know, which is down at the pier head, and you see a fella, he said, you mentioned it on one of your DVDs. He said, have you got any idea what it's called? He said, it's all like string and ropes. And I said, yeah. And he said, you know, and who designed it? I can't find out who designed it. I said, well, it was a fella named Edward Cronshaw. And it's called The Great Escape. The Great Escape by Edward Cronshaw. I said, what it is, isn't it strange what I just said there about, you know, about being in chains?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, we can't escape from those chains, from that, you know, Jean-Jacques Rousseau quote.
No.
Man was born free, however, everywhere in chains.
Yeah.
And, and it's just like that horse, The Great Escape. Because it symbolizes everything, really. It symbolizes, do you know my grandmother? She had a canary, and her dad's one eye. And honestly, her dad's one eye, and You know, if anyone come in, like, I went by the cage, it used to turn its little mad's head. I'm sure, you know, if it's little feet or legs or whatever stuck to the perch, you're stuck, and it says it turned around. I think it was just fell off. Yeah, but it has one eye, and I was always thinking, isn't that a shame? Isn't it a shame that these things, creatures, beautiful creatures, are stuck in cages? And she used to have this beautiful bowl. There's a beautiful bowl, water in. And she had this, like, castle. It was tall, you know, tall castle. You know, fair, you know, wasn't a big thing like this, but and she used to have this goldfish going around. And I was a kid. I was about 8 or 9. And it fascinated me, this. And I always used to think about the canary being locked up in a cage. That's one thing I never ever did. And this is from a chat. I never ever went to a zoo because I don't like zoos. Believe it or not. And I used to look at this fish going around. And even as a kid, I'm saying, why, you know, these are not free, these things. They're just swimming around and around. And I used to go like that with the water, you know, just as you do, you know, being a mad kid. And once I went over to see her, and she said, Francis, she said, have you done something with the fish? Now, I was an altar boy at the time. I said, what do you mean have I done something with the fish? She said, it's gone, look. And I was looking for it. And you know, like, you know, if you've got a dog or a cat and you go, come here, you know, come here, fella. You can't do it to a fish. And I'm looking at it. I said, I must have jumped out. And my Uncle Tony was there, he came in. I'm saying, I must have jumped out. And he went, goldfish don't jump out of bowls. They can't jump, they just swim around. What have you done with it? I said, I've done nothing. And they blame me for, you know, weeks. I killed the fish.
For the disappearing fish?
For the disappearing fish. And I guess what? She went to get a new one. When my Uncle Tony, he went to Zio Tony, that's to the Italians, uncle to say. Zio is an uncle. Anyway, went to get a fish. So I'll get you on, Mum. Okay. So we brought it. So what me Auntie Mary did, was to clean the bowl out. Right, she said, you've got to, because Tony was bringing it the next day, you see. She said, I'll clean the bowl out and put fresh water in and, you know, even clean that stupid castle thing.
Yeah.
Guess what they found in the bloody castle?
The fish.
The fish. Got stuck. Oh yeah, I love it's Jason. Goldfish do jump. I've had a few that jumped out of the tank. You're making it.
No. Well, this one unfortunately didn't.
Didn't. I went into the little castle and got stuck. And I got the blame for killing it. Oh yeah, don't kill the fish. That was by you know, my cousins. Stevie, he's horrible. Steve, don't kill the fish. Never kills it.
Well, it's like those And we've all done it when we were kids. You know, you've got a mate or someone, and there's a little hamster in a cage, and it keeps going round on that wheel. And it's only when you get to like where we are now and you think, that's the philosophy of life, isn't it? Round and round on the same wheel, unless you get hide in a castle.
That's it. That's it. You know, these little guinea pigs going around on a wheel.
Yeah.
But that's me, you see. But, Jason, I think I live in a cartoon. Listen to us. Bella, mille grazie. Franco and Anthony, it's great to hear what you're saying. I think that's why everyone's so quiet. We're so fascinated with what you're saying. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. That's very kind.
It is, you know, because you just sit here. But it never went to plan, unfortunately. The show didn't go to plan. We were going to talk about a variety of things, you know. So hopefully, I hope Francine said she'd come down. But I forgot to remind her today that about tomorrow, I'm bringing these people down to Little Italy. Obviously, I'd go with them.
Yeah.
Because when there was, I forget her name, unfortunately, she was the consul for Liverpool, Italian consul. And she came to, unveil the plaque.
Yeah.
Great plaque. It was lovely.
I remember the day happening. I wasn't there and stuff, but I do, yeah. She took a really active part, didn't she?
She did. She certainly did. I think her name was Nuncia, something like that. But anyway,
it'll be in the Scotty Press, those papers. I think that's where.
So, I've got to show you this. You know the Scotty Press.
Yeah.
Mad it is. She put something out I didn't even know. Hang on, where is it? Oh. Do you know what? Yeah. Oh no, that's not it. Oh. Might be able to get it now. Neil, Neil. I'll send you the thing. No, I can't find it.
Do you know what left out?
I can't find it because it was the. I was with Roger Phillips, and Francine said, "Look at me, Ted. Ted Young."
That's right. Yeah, I clocked the photograph.
Did you see it?
You looked about 12.
With this, that was black.
Every inch the Italian. Yeah. And for all of our dear friends out there who are watching, listening, the Scotty Press is one of the longest serving community newspapers and quite often featured the Little Italy, Ireland, and our generational backdrop, what we grew up through. And it's online, I think, so you can clock it and maybe get a back issue, and you see Frank looking like
Are you taking the mic out of me?
Looking like NATO.
Do you know what, though? I can't find it. I'm useless, you see. Absolutely useless at working out anything. I'll just try and I'll have the last go.
I'll have to try and track it down and bounce it to Jason, and maybe we'll bounce it up and sneak it in on a history show. There you go. There you
go. Jason, he's whopping him, isn't he? How did he get that?
He's brilliant.
How does he get that?
Yeah, fantastic.
So, but you know what? How that was taken?
Yeah.
I was asked to give an exhibition. So I said, yeah, sure, you know, where? And well, I was lecturing about the Roman Empire at the time, strangely enough. And he said, it's a place called the VNC. And I went, where's that? So they told me, and where I'm sitting here now, the VNC is only up there. I was that point. It's just up there. And it was amazing because I went down, and how I get else who was there? Jimmy McGovern.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Jimmy was walking around.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy did a lot of work with the Scotty Road Writers Association.
What he did.
Writers group. I think he went there to study first, and then he went there as a kind of a mentor.
Well, when he said to me, Jimmy, I was telling him about, believe it or not, I was telling him about John Kirk. He says, who's that? I said, it's a fella. I said, Dickens, you know, took his birth and used it for Oliver Twist's birth. He said, why don't you write about it? I said, well, you know, I just shrugged my shoulders. I can't write things like that. He said, you can. Years later, when I seen him, he said to me, have you wrote anything about, he said, what was his name? I said, John Kirk. He said, haven't you written anything? I said, no, Jim. I said, why don't you write about it? He said, no, you write it. Write a play. He said, I know that you did well, you know, about the First World War. He said, write another one. So I said, okay. He said, promise? I said, yeah, I'll promise. Now, for our Italian friends, Jimmy's a very well-known writer. He's a very well-known writer of plays. He's done lots of work, you know, film, TV, and well-known here in Liverpool. And I seen him, you know, at that function. Remember, with what's his name? What's his face? David Guest, remember?
Yes.
Down at the Anglican, the cathedral. And he said to me, and Kenny Dalglish was standing there, and he said to me, have you written that play yet? And I went, and genuine. I went like that. I said, Mr. Dalglish, I've been dying to meet you. And I put my hand. He said, hello, Frank. And I looked at him, I was shocked. And I said to him, Jimmy, I said, did you tell him my name? He said, no. I said, no, because I just appeared. And Kenny said, I always watch LFC TV. He said, you're good. That's what he said to me. And he said to me, tell him about that fella, John Kirk. And I went, oh, yeah. So it's all a little brief outline. And through the night, honest, coming from an ultimate, ex-ultimate, he kept saying, hey, Frank. And I went, Yeah, well, I can. Because he was with people, you see. Different people, right through the bloody night. Hey, Frank. Yeah. Oliver Twist, one of your Scouser. And I went, yeah. Right through the night. I should have after about the 20th time. Hey, Frank. I went, oh, what no, Kenny? What, Ken?
Classic.
But he's a lovely man, him.
Yeah.
And you know who he introduced me to? A very good friend, turns out to be a very good friend of you and I. Rod.
Yeah.
Rod home.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Because Rod said, Rod said, he was on Radio Merseyside and he followed him out. You know, it was about Liverpool one.
Yeah.
And Rod said to Roger, he said, do you know a good historian? And he said, yeah. And he said, Frank Carlyle. So that's how I got to know that. You know, and I became the historical consultant for Liverpool one, which I'm very proud of. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
And it was all through Roger the Lodger there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Franco, the lady's called Nunzia Bertolli. Do you know what? I said Nunzia, don't I? I think it was Nunzia or something. Yes, that's right. And I remember, thank you, Toscana. I remember meeting her, shaking her hands, and they said, will you give a little speech? I said, I can't, because I was in a hurry. I just parked my car. They were undoing the plaque, so I waited there because I was giving her a lecture in St. George's Hall in the concert room. Because there was a few people who were there looking at the unveiling, but they were also going over to St. George's Hall to listen to me. And we all walked together. I said, I'm awfully sorry. But, you know, I turned around and said, this is a great thing for Liverpool not to forget the roots of Italy. You know, bravo, bravo. That's what I said and walked away. And it was stolen the next day. Well, it was gone the next day, put it that way. And on that wonderful note, I'm amazed up at what you've said there. Toscana, and Bella. Franco, her name was Bessie Braddock. One of the greats. I've spoken about her, Bella.
Yeah.
Her mother was a suffrage. She was a beautiful lady who helped the poor. I know what you mean, Bella, Bessie. And on that wonderful note, to everybody, thank you for joining Anthony and myself, because keep us company. All your wonderful comments, really, you know, your comments have been absolutely wonderful. To our Italian friends, mille grazie.
Yes.
Mille grazie. And what have I got tomorrow?
Yeah. You've got your special day tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'll be back for tomorrow evening anyway, you know, so I'll be on again. I'll let you know what everything is all about tomorrow night with these lovely people who are coming up to see me.
Yeah.
Toscana. Grazie Franco and Anthony. Great evening. Buonanotte a tutti.
Thank you. Kind
But I'm not. It's been great, and even better at See, Christopher, my Frank and Anthony and Jason and everyone, and up the literature. That's
Great literature.
of the literature. It's just been great, and to all our girls up there, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow night, don't forget as well, Friday night, which will be great, really. And Jason says, thanks everyone, night all.
Night, Jason. Thank you.
I don't know what I've got tomorrow night, I don't know whether I've got football or what. I don't know whether I've changed it. Have I changed the thing, Anthony?
I haven't really heard you talk about tomorrow night because your day is the day, isn't it? You meet
with those people. But if our Francines had come down, finished, we'd be able to go with them. I tried to change, a photograph.
Yeah.
And I thought I was putting it on something else. I can't use these things. I'm absolutely useless. So I was changing it. Then all of a sudden, because I hardly use Facebook, as you know. And it said, whenever I clicked, and I went on it. And then all of a sudden, there was messages coming up. So when I put it on, the bloody photograph went on to the Facebook thing. And I didn't even know. Look at it.
I saw that today, yeah.
Well, that's a mistake because I didn't want to put it up. I didn't know it went on there. Nuts. Well, that's me and my technology, absolutely useless. Have you enjoyed it, Anthony?
I have, Frank. I have enjoyed it. I always do, Frank. And I've enjoyed all the dip ins and outs of other stuff too. And it will be great to see Jamie again because I really enjoyed listening to him last time he was on with you. But there you go, Toscane.
Yeah, well, she says, buonanotte anche a tutti amici. And what that means is, to all my friends, also to you, my friends. That's the other Italian girls, the Italians.
Yeah.
Which is nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Literally on the airwaves.
Yeah. So there's been Italians on. And you know what, though? It's been brilliant tonight, especially with my new camera.
Yeah, looks great. Sounds great. Yeah.
I hope it is, because, as I said, Francine brought it down today. Fitted it in because there was no way I could do. Well, my grandson, he was with it. Ben, my grandson, Ben. My nonno. Anyway, that's for me. And I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what's happening. I really don't tomorrow. It's Jason. You haven't mentioned a change to me, but let me know and I'll sort it. I haven't a clue. Am I doing football?
Could be.
Yeah, football, Jason. I'm doing football. Ambidextrous. The lovely ambidextrous. Thanks, Frank and Anthony. Good night, all. Now, don't forget everybody who's into this paranormal. I'll see you Friday night. And you will. No, well, I'll tell you all about my paranormal experience, but it wasn't what I was saying to you before. The 2 experiences I had in France as a hiker, and what I seen, incredible. And on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you.
Okay, mate. I'll say hello and good night to Ambidextrous.
Good night, Ambidextrous. Thank you. And good night, all. And thanks, Jason.
Absolutely. The genius. Boy, genius.
You enjoy your day tomorrow, Frank.
Yeah. Bella says, buonanotte a tutti, Franco and Anthony and chat. Great night from all the Italian signora. Thank you.
Can't get finer than that, can you?
Here's a pic for your profile, mate.
There you go. That's a good one.
It just shows you the clearness, and yet that's blurry because that was the camera that I've always been using for years.
Yeah.
And I froze last night on it, so I had to.
That's a brilliant one, that one, though.
Do you reckon? But I don't know how to use it. I haven't a clue. How to. As I said, I thought that I was putting that. I don't know where I was putting that picture. But it went on my profile. Yeah. That's when you froze last night. It was like that for about an hour. I know, Jay. I know. And then that wonderful. It's a big thanks to Jason. And we know this, don't we, Anthony? Yeah. But Anthony, who's the biggest that we've got to compliment?
Yeah.
Well, it's all the chatters. They're the most important.
All of the chatters. All of our chatters, because we're two chatters on one side of the screen and they are a whole lovely bunch of chatters on the other side.
Exactly. And it's not only that, but without the chatters, without these wonderful people, there'd be no show. Simple as that.
Couldn't be. Just you, me, and Jason on a park bench.
Well, I couldn't put it anymore. On a park bench.
That's the basis of a good piece of literature there for someone.
It is. Anyway, I'll be finishing on that. And as the Italians would say, ci vediamo. A domani. Ciao. Ciao, Bella.
Good night, Frank.
Good night. Thanks. Good night.